The collapse of Can Tho Bridge, a forewarning of disaster. In 2007, the Can Tho Bridge, a great pride of the Mekong Delta, was in its final construction phase. Workers labored day and night, eager to complete the bridge that would span the Hau River. However, by mid-year, eerie rumors began to spread. Some workers claimed to have seen shadowy figures gliding past the scaffolding at midnight, while others heard whispers and distant cries in the wind. Some even dreamed of a group of people dressed in white standing on the bridge, their eyes empty, their hands beckoning. Elderly workers warned that this area was once an ancient battlefield where many had died unjustly. They whispered that whenever a grand structure was built, a sacrifice was needed to ensure peace. But the chief engineer dismissed these fears, calling them mere superstition. The project continued. The catastrophic collapse. On the morning of September 26, 2007, as the sun was rising, a thunderous sound shook the entire area. A massive section of the bridge, hundreds of meters long, suddenly collapsed, burying more than 200 workers beneath it. The air was filled with terrified screams. Survivors later recalled hearing an eerie whistling wind before the disaster, followed by ghostly figures in white, standing silently among the bridge's beams. Some witnesses reported that as the concrete fell, a white mist rose into the sky, carrying sorrowful wails. One lucky survivor claimed he saw a woman in a white Ao Dai sitting on a steel beam, her face filled with sadness, her eyes hollow, just moments before everything came crashing down. Spirits of anger and grief. After the disaster, the collapsed site became a field of devastation. Broken concrete, twisted steel, and endless cries of anguish. Rescue sirens wailed as families rushed to the scene, many collapsing in despair as bodies were pulled from the rubble. Some survivors, badly injured, muttered strange, incoherent words, their eyes filled with terror. One worker, trapped under the debris, heard slow footsteps approaching. He thought it was the rescue team, but when he opened his eyes, he saw a pale-faced man in a worker's uniform standing there, staring blankly. As he tried to call for help, the figure vanished without a trace. Families collecting their loved ones' bodies described an eerie chill upon touching them. One grieving woman sobbed as she recalled her husband's last dream. He had seen a group of white-clad people staring at him before silently turning away and fading into the darkness. Rescue workers reported unsettling experiences, feeling unseen presences behind them, hearing faint groans from the rubble, only to find nothing when they searched. As night fell, eerie shadows flickered through the mist, and distant whispers called their names. Many believed the spirits of the victims still lingered, unable to move on. The haunted rides. Even after the bridge was rebuilt and opened, ghostly stories continued to spread. During the day, vehicles crossed the bridge without issue, but at night, the air grew heavy, and an eerie chill settled over the road. Truck drivers traveling at night often reported seeing a lone figure standing by the roadside, a man in an old worker's uniform, head bowed, hair covering his face. Some even saw the figure raise a hand, signaling for a ride. One driver, feeling pity, stopped to pick up the man, but when he opened the door, no one was there. As he glanced at his rearview mirror, he was horrified to see a pale face staring back at him. Terrified, he sped away, his heart pounding. When he finally stopped at a rest station, he noticed a faint handprint on his windshield, as if someone had pressed their palm against the glass. Another eerie tale came from a group of young travelers riding their motorbikes across the bridge at night. They laughed and chatted, but midway across, one girl suddenly fell silent, her face turning pale. Trembling, she pointed toward the railing and whispered, "There's someone sitting there, watching us." The group turned but saw nothing. The girl's terror only grew, and she muttered, "They're still there, so many of them, staring at us." Panicked, they sped away. Later, the girl explained that she had seen numerous ghostly figures in white standing along the bridge, their hollow eyes following them as they passed. Fishermen working under the bridge also shared chilling experiences. Some saw ghostly silhouettes wandering the bridge, while others heard sorrowful cries drifting down from above. One man swore he heard someone calling his name, only to look up and see a shadowy figure standing at the railing, before vanishing into thin air. These eerie tales spread. warning travelers not to stop on the bridge at night, never to look back, and never to pick up strangers, because they might not be among the living. Prayers for the lost souls. Frightened by these ghostly encounters, the local people arranged a grand prayer ceremony, inviting monks to chant and guide the lost spirits to peace. During the ceremony, a sudden strong wind blew out the candles, though no one had touched them. After the ritual, paranormal activities seemed to decrease. Fewer ghostly figures were seen, and the wailing sounds faded. Yet some drivers still reported feeling unseen eyes watching them from beneath the bridge. Perhaps the spirits had not fully moved on. The legend lives on. Today, Can Tho Bridge stands tall, a vital link in the Mekong Delta, but the legend of its ghosts remains. Fishermen still hear faint cries echoing on misty nights, and older villagers warn their children, never call out someone's name when crossing the bridge at night, never stare too long into the rearview mirror, and if someone waves for a ride, never stop, because you may not be picking up a person, but a restless spirit, forever trapped in the fateful bridge.